Good
Hello
day,
viewers,
fearless
welcome
viewers,
back to the
and
channel.
welcome back to
Buckle
the
up,
channel where the
because
political
this week's political roller coaster in South Africa comes with sharper twists than anyone expected. Tonight,
At the center
our
of the storm
spotlight
is
swings to one of the
Cyril
most
Ramaphosa
eyebrow-raising
himself.
soundbites rocking South
Overnight,
African airwaves.
the careful
by a
image
seeming
of a calm
nosy
captain
leaning into a
steering the ship
microphone,
of state has
voice
started
edged
to crack,
with genuine
and
concern,
insiders whisper
and
that he
asking
may
the
be
question
losing
the one thing a
across
president
every
can never
WhatsApp
afford
group
to
and
lose,
late-night taxi
control
ride
of his own
he doesn't
cabinet.
sound okay. Will
What
he make
began
it to
as
Sunday?
faint rumblings inside the Union
Of
buildings
course,
has now
is
erupted
none
into
other
a
than
public
President
spectacle
Cyril
of power
Ramaphosa,
plays, and the tremor in
strategically
Loz's words
and
has
bold
detonated a
defiance,
firestorm leaving of
the nation
speculation
and
about the
Ramaphosa
president's health
supporters
that refuses
wondering
to be
whether the
extinguished.
president can still command the
In an
deck
era
or
when
whether
a single
mutiny
tweet
is
can
already
topple stock underway
prices
beneath
or
his
spark
feet.
midnight vigils.
Let's
Those
rewind to
12
the moment
syllables
that
have
fans
fanned
became
rumors
impossible
into
to
roaring
ignore.
bonfires, forcing
It
every
started
newsroom,
with a routine
medical
cabinet
analyst,
meeting that was
an
anything
armchair
but
pundit to
routine.
reach for their stethoscopes,
Ministers normally
real or
disciplined
metaphorical,
enough to keep disagreements
Picture the
behind
scene,
closed
a
doors,
chilly
broke
Johannesburg
protocol in a volley
evening,
of
cameras
on-record
studying the
criticism
edge of a
directed
press pit
squarely
like
at the
watchful
president's
fireflies,
economic agenda.
and Lozi, always
One
one to
senior
blend
minister,
theatrical flair with
usually a
razor-sharp
staunch
timing,
Ramaphosa ally,
steps forward.
stunned journalists by declaring
recounts
that
an
our
off-record
policy
exchange,
direction is
a
drifting,
handshake that felt
and
a little
leadership
too
is
limp,
urgently required.
a cough that lingered a bit too
in
long,
political language
fatigue
that
masked
is
by
practically a
presidential
flare gun
composure
fired
but visible
into the
if
night
you
sky.
looked close enough.
Before Ramaphosa
Within
could even
hours,
formulate a
talk radio
response,
switchboards
another
melted
minister,
under a
widely
deluge of
tipped to
callers,
harbor
some
presidential
genuinely
ambitions
worried,
of his own,
others
slipped a
gleefully
memo to
fanning
select
political
media outlets
conspiracy.
accusing the president's
Was
office
Ramaphosa
of
merely
paralysis.
hoarse from marathon negotiations
Within
over
hours,
Eskom's next
headlines
bailout,
blared,
or was
cabinet
something
revolt,
more sinister gnawing at his stamina?
Ramaphosa under pressure.
Did he stress from
But that
coalition
eruption
wrangling
was
and
only the
economic
first
firefighting
aftershock?
finally pierced the
As the
presidential
week
armor?
unfolded, a
Every
pattern
pixel
emerged. of recent
Key
footage
ministers
began
suspect.
to freelance
Was
on
that
policy,
a subtle wins when
granting
he turned?
interviews where they
Was
announced
his stride
initiatives
slower
never
on the
seen
red
by the
carpet?
cabinet subcommittees? Experts replay
The
the
public
clips
saw
like
housing
forensic
ministers
scientists dissecting
Limpopo
frame by
commit
frame
billions
to
to
an
approve
accelerated
deals.
land release scheme
Medical
without Treasury
professionals
sign-off.
quickly weighed in,
Moments
cautioning the
later,
public against
Treasury
armchair
officials
diagnoses.
shut it down,
One
calling it
pulmonologist
fiscally
noted
reckless.
that seasonal allergies
In
could
normal
explain
times,
a raspy tone,
that would earn a
while
sharp
an internist
reprimand.
reminded everyone that the
Instead,
president,
silence
like
from
any
the
60-something
presidency,
balancing 18-hour
silence
days,
that was deafening,
might simply be overdue
Why
for
isn't
rest.
Ramaphosa cracking the
But
whip?
in the echo chamber of
According
social
to
media,
insiders,
reasoned
the
voices
president
often
has been
drown
juggling
under the
two
riptide
fronts,
of speculation.
the looming showdown over
Memes
state-owned
mushrooms,
enterprise reforms,
Photoshop
and a
pill
delicate
bottles
label
push
to secure
low-chair
Labour's
relief,
blessing for a
side-by-side
controversial wage
pictures
freeze
of
proposal.
Ramaphosa at last year's
Both
State of the
require
Nation
cabinet
address
unity,
versus this
yet
year's
unity is
arose
exactly what he
highlighting
is
supposed
losing.
gauntness.
One
Even
advisor
late-night
confided
comedy
that
couldn't
Ramaphosa
resist.
fears a dramatic
Sketches
purge
featured
would fracture
lookalike
the
actors
party
swapping
ahead
the
of the
Union buildings for a
2026
silent retreat
elections.
at a secret Limpopo
Another
spa
said
while
the
Deputy President Paul
counting
Moshatau
numbers,
practiced
in which
emergency
rebellious
speeches in the
ministers
mirror.
command enough support in
Yet
the
beneath the
ANC's
satire
National
lies a
Executive
sobering
Committee
reality.
to topple him if forced out.
South Africa has walked
The
this
image is
tightrope
painful.
before.
Remember
A leader
the hush-hush
speculation around
Nelson
Nelson Mandela's
Mandela's
recurring
principle.
hospitalizations,
Ramaphosa's
Thabo
trademark
Mbeki's
style,
rumored health scares that
consultative,
flickered in
cautious,
tabloid headlines,
forever seeking consensus.
The health of a
worked
sitting
when the
president
stakes were
isn't just
lower.
idle gossip.
South
It holds
Africans
economic
once
weight,
applauded the patience,
diplomatic ripples,
Today,
and emotional
patience
heft for
feels
millions
like
who
drift.
tie national stability to
The
a
vacuum
single trusted
invites
figure.
challenges. Investors
Analysts
either
point
ran,
to public
wondering
wondering
if
if whispered
Minister Sifo
infirmity could
Leklate,
spook markets,
who has quietly rallied colleagues
opposition
around
parties
state
sniff
project
opportunity,
first, lobby that
crafting
advocates
statements
aggressive
that feign
borrowing
respect
to bail
while
out
subtly
failing
questioning the
utilities.
ANC's succession plan.
Leklate's faction openly
International
contradicts
allies
finance
quietly
minister
request
Thandi
briefings,
Masiko's austerity
juggling their
roadmap.
own diplomatic
By
calendars
week's
against
end,
talk of
two
a possible
radically
sudden
opposed
leadership
economic
shuffle.
messages had emerged
Meanwhile,
from the same government,
Ramaphosa's
and markets
communications
reacted
team
with
scrambled
predictable
into
panic.
crisis
The
control
rand dropped
overdrive.
2%.
They
Bond
released
yields
a
spiked,
polished video
and
clip.
business
The
confidence
president's
surveys
striding
hit their
briskly
lowest through a
marks
garden
since
at
early
Molambe
2024,
laughing with staff.
Meanwhile,
Voice sounding
looming
strong
on the
as
horizon
ever.
is the National Energy
Caption,
Accord,
working for the
Ramaphosa's
nation
flagship
every
plan
day.
to stabilize the grid
But
by
skeptics
inviting
counter
private
with
sector
smartphone
investment.
footage from a community
The
housing
blueprint was
inspection,
scheduled for
claiming
cabinet
the audio
endorsement
hints
next
at
month,
labored breathing.
yet 3 ministers have now
Analysts
signaled they
dissect
will
the
vote it
differences,
down unless they get
calibrating
major
sound levels
concessions,
to separate
minding one's
microphone
broader
distortion from
exemptions.
physiological
Environment
strain.
demands stricter
It
green
becomes the
timelines,
political
physical equivalent of listening for a hidden message in a vinyl record. Any one of those demands care whether this melody ends on a healthy note. All three at once. Turning up the pressure. It might be dead before arrival. Doubles down in a breakfast TV interview. The prospect of a president unable to push through his remarks were not a cheap shot but a heartfelt call for transparency. ANC veterans deserve salivating. If the commander-in-chief is soldiering through illness, turning impatient, we must know and even among those who once saw Ramaphosa as a reformer savior. His words resonate because they straddle empathy and confrontation, placing the burden of proof squarely on the presidency. On speeches. Some praise him as a watchdog,
listen to him,
others accuse him of manufacturing drama to score points.
Hashtags like
Either way,
captain or
the
passenger
spotlight
trended for
intensifies.
48 hours,
Echoing the
anxiety
anxiety of a nation caught in rolling blackouts and rising food prices while leaders citing
bicker.
logistical adjustments.
Yet, amid the gloom,
rumor
there
mill
is still a sliver
activated.
of strategic brilliance left
Yet
to
here's
Ramaphosa
the twist nobody
chooses
expected.
to wield it.
The saga galvanizes
Insiders
an
say the
unlikely wave of
president is
solidarity.
considering an audacious move,
Citizens who
offering
rarely
cabinet
agree on
rebels a
anything
stark
begin
ultimatum
sharing
backed by the
messages
threat
wishing
of
the
mass
president
dismissal
could an
help.
immediate reshuffle.
Church groups post
The risk,
praise, while meme
triggering
artists
resignations
gentler,
that could
rally
collapse
behind the
fragile
leader
majority.
humor,
Cartoons of
the
Ramaphosa
reward,
resting under a duvet
reasserting
pattern with
authority
tiny
and
African
clearing
free
the
trade
decks for a
logos,
streamlined
sipping
war
robust
cabinet
labeled
laser-focused on
recovery
economic
blend.
recovery.
It's a digital
It is,
vigil,
quite
proof
literally,
that beneath the
a gamble
political
for survival.
battlefield, many South
The
Africans
political
still
class
crave
is split on
collective
whether
moments of
Ramaphosa will
compassion.
pull the trigger.
Through this
Some
whirlwind,
believe his instinct
Ramaphosa
for
himself remains
reconciliation will
largely
prevail,
silent,
leading to
fueling
endless
more
compromise
curiosity.
and,
ultimately,
then comes the
paralysis.
address.
Others
Sunday
argue
evening,
that his legacy
prime
now
time,
hangs
national
by such a thin thread
broadcasters
that
cut to a
decisive
live
action
feed.
is the only path
He
left.
appears behind a podium
One
flanked by
ANC
flags,
elder,
as
speaking
alert,
off record,
suit
immaculate,
immaculate,
Cyril
voice
is
steady
at
but
his
softer
Rubicon.
than usual.
Either he crosses and
acknowledges
emerges
an
stronger,
overwhelming
or the river
outpouring of
washes him
concern
away
and clarifies
all
that
the
he
while,
suffered a
the
respiratory
opposition
infection,
senses blood in the water.
but non-serious bout that
The
doctors
Democratic
say is
Alliance
resolving.
is already drafting
He
parliamentary
thanks
motions
Nlozi
for
to
prompting
expose
the
cabinet
public dialogue
divisions.
on leader health,
The economic
diffuses
freedom
tension with
fighters
the
threaten
self-deprecating quip
quotes
about
about
vitamin
vitamin
C,
buildings,
and
pivot
pivot
seamlessly
seamlessly
into policy
the absentee
updates on
president.
youth employment and power
Even
station
within
upgrades.
the ANC, younger
In 8
backbenchers
minutes,
are whispering
he
about
transforms
succession.
from the subject of health
In
hysteria
politics,
into a statesman
perception
who
is
turns
reality,
vulnerability into
and the
gravitas.
perception right now is a leader
The
fighting to
markets
keep the
breathe
crown
out.
from slipping.
The rand claws
So,
back
where
mourning
does
losses.
that leave the ordinary South
Pundits
African?
pivot again, lauding his
Fed up,
candor while passing the
frustrated,
political
and facing the
chessboard.
prospect
Did the
that the very
statement
people
neutralize
sworn
the
to
fix
fix
the
the
nation's
nation's
merely
problems
postpone it
until
until
in
their
their
own
own
power
power
games?
Von Nlozi,
Eskom warns
the
of
plot
state
takes an
7
ironic
load shedding,
turn, far from
hospitals
being
report
vilified,
medicine shortages,
is now credited
and the
with
rand
hastening
yoyos with every
transparency,
cabinet leak,
proving once more that
the
opposition
tangible costs of
provocateurs can
political
wield
chaos
softer
are
power
borne
than
not by
1,000
ministers
formal
but by
inquiries.
citizens braving rising
Meanwhile,
taxi fares and
the
shrinking
electorate
paychecks.
absorbs a lesson in how
As the
quickly
week
concern
closes,
can mutate
the
into
stakes
rumor,
could not be higher.
and how vital clear communication
Ramaphosa
remains
can no
in
longer
an age
rely
of
on moral
instantaneous
authority
opinion.
alone. He must act with the
So,
decisiveness
if you crave
he once
analysis
promised
that
but rarely
slices
delivered.
through the static with the
Will he
precision
risk
of a
short-term
newsroom
turbulence
scalpel,
to
if you
restore
want
long-term
every
stability,
developing twist on
or he settle
Ramaphosa's
for
recovery,
uneasy compromises
Nlozi's
that
next
erode his
revelation,
credibility
and
one
the unseen
headline at a
currents
time?
in the corridors of power?
The coming days
then
will
do the
reveal
smart
whether
thing,
South
hit
Africa
that
witnesses a
subscribe button
presidential
right now,
resurgence or
ring
the
the
slow,
bell for instant
public
unraveling
alerts,
of a man
and
who
stay
once
ahead of the
symbolized
curve
renewal.
with the community that never
Thank you for
sleeps on the
watching.
stories shaping South
If you
Africa's
crave more
destiny.
hard-hitting analysis and real-time updates on South Africa's most dramatic political moments, make sure you subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell right now, because the next twist could drop at any moment, and you won't want to miss it.